This is the world's shortest international train, connecting Johor Bahru in the south of Malaysia across the strait to Singapore in less than 5 minutes, taking thousands of passengers across the water every day between these two closely connected countries. However, this historic train connection is about to end, as a whole new cross-border link is set to replace this train service forever. So join me in this video as I take you for a ride on the world's shortest international train and talk about its storied past and very interesting future. We begin our journey here in Johor Bahru, a city in southern Malaysia. And before any of you run to the comments to tell me that this is not the world's shortest international train service, let's talk about the definition a bit. So yeah, the Vatican technically has a train service, or at least it used to. I can't actually find any information confirming it's running at the moment. But either way, that service has generally been limited to Sundays only. And you could only ride on board it if you bought a full day guided tour to the Vatican City, so as far as I'm concerned, this is no real train service but just a tourist attraction. The same thing goes for this very short 100-meter stretch of track between the Czech Republic and the German border that was only built to take this title as the world's shortest international train. Again, it's just another novelty tourist attraction. So, with those two tourist attractions out of the way, the Johor Bahru to Singapore shuttle train is the world's shortest actual international train service. At just over 2 kilometers long, it runs multiple times a day, carrying commuters, visitors and other travelers alike across the border. And before we head inside the station and actually ride this shuttle train, you will notice the heavy reconstruction going on outside of the station. This is going to become part of the brand new RTS system, which is an under construction rapid transit system that in many ways will act as an extension of Singapore's metro, by connecting to the Thomson East Coast Metro line at Woodlands North. It's currently set to open in 2027 if it doesn't get delayed further. The service will provide some much needed additional rail capacity across the strait, and also provide a direct connection to the Singapore Metro, which is not the case with the current Woodlands checkpoint station on the shuttle train. And speaking of the shuttle train, let's finally head inside the station. Our train departs from JB Sentral, the main station and huge transportation hub in this city home to around 800,000 people. The station was opened in 2010 and brought together buses and trains to one central facility, making transfers and border crossings into Singapore more centralized and streamlined. It's a modern facility with lots of shops, retail outlets, and even real estate buying opportunities. There's also loads of buses departing from here to Singapore, but these use a separate area of the terminal. As for the rail portion of the station, it is fairly small, but there is a ticket office, although Malaysian trains often sell out weeks in advance, so it's highly recommended buying ahead online, even for the shuttle train. The waiting area for the train service is fairly small and can get very busy when a lot of trains are departing at the same time. In addition to the trains going across the border to Singapore, the station is also served by other train services to the rest of Peninsular Malaysia. The line from Kuala Lumpur has now been electrified all the way to Johor Bahru, but I filmed this before it was open, with diesel trains instead shuttling up to the endpoint of electrification at Gemas. As we need to clear Malaysian exit immigration before getting on the train, you must go through immigration here in Johor Bahru at least 20 minutes before departure, with gates opening around 40 minutes before departure. After scanning your passport at the gate to enter the border facility, you will be taken downstairs to clear the formalities. And while I go past the border checks, let me tell you a bit about the history of the rail service to Singapore. While trains only shuttle back and forth between Johor Bahru Central and Woodlands checkpoint today, the line used to carry on all the way to downtown Singapore, which was a lot more convenient. There even was direct train connections all the way from Kuala Lumpur to downtown Singapore multiple times a day till it closed in 2011. In 2011, the line was cut back to Woodlands checkpoint, mostly due to symbolic politics and disagreements over ownership and development rights along the former railway line, which had nothing to do about actually providing a good rail service, but at least it made it the world's shortest international train, I guess. Once through border controls, you are stamped out of Malaysia and then put into a holding area till your train is ready for boarding. There is a toilet here, but definitely not enough seating for a full train, so prepare to be standing here for a while if you clear immigration fast. Around 10 minutes before the train's scheduled departure time, the gates were opened and we were escorted to the correct platform. It was a bit chaotic trying to fit hundreds of people through this small door and onto a train immediately, but I guess they have to do it this way to separate domestic and international traffic. As we head down the escalator, our train comes into view. This consists of multiple Malaysian passenger carriages. There are no seat reservations or different classes offered on board, so you can just grab a seat in any of the available carriages. It's first come, first serve. And even a couple of carriages away, you can hear the engine of the diesel locomotive hauling our train. This is a KTM Class 25 locomotive, built by the EMD plant in London, Ontario, Canada. Malaysia has 17 of these meter gauge diesel locomotives, and they have an oddly specific speed limit of 107 km per hour. Johor Bahru at the time of filming this video was only served by diesel trains, but just a couple of weeks ago, the line all the way from Kuala Lumpur was completely electrified, and now services heading north are generally operated by a brand new fleet of electrical multiple units. Right, let's head on board. I decided to pick this yellow carriage just because it was so close to the front of the train. As mentioned, all seating is unreserved, so just pick any available seat you fancy. These are just regular domestic rail carriages used on domestic trains in Malaysia, although with the expansion of the electrification program they are becoming a lot more rare. The seats themselves are pretty comfortable, as they are designed for long distance travel. They are very well padded, especially for a 5-minute journey, and they also have tray tables, but as these were really designed for long distance travel, this is no surprise. There are no power outlets or other amenities, but we are doing a 5-minute journey across the water, this is more than adequate. And should you really need to visit the toilet on this very long journey, there are actually toilets at the end of every carriage. So no, of course I wouldn't spare you of a toilet review, even on this very short journey. This was actually in pretty good condition. There was toilet paper, a bidet, the flush was working, and especially the water tap had really good pressure. Oh well, it's fine. Back in my seat, we depart Johor Bahru on time at 08:45, beginning our journey to Singapore that's scheduled to take just 5 minutes. I don't think I need to do the full route map segment for today's journey, but here's the stats and information about our departure. So, as we now leave Malaysia behind and begin our crossing of the causeway across the strait, let's talk about why this train service exists. In reality, it's mostly just a relic of the past, from the time when Singapore was still a part of Malaysia, and you could travel by train to Singapore from all over the peninsula. Unfortunately, as this railway line became entangled in the politics surrounding the sovereignty and separation of Malaysia and Singapore, it went from being an actually sensible rail connection, providing Singapore with long-distance rail services, to this rather strange shuttle operation. It's not really ideal as a rapid transit cross-border service due to its low capacity and frequencies, as it was never built around that purpose. But it's also no longer a great option for long-distance rail travel either, since the train drops you off in a less convenient location than both the airport and Singapore's main bus terminals. As we now arrive into Woodlands checkpoint, I don't actually have that much footage left, as they were very strict about filming, understandably so, on this border area. We arrive into the checkpoint on time just about 5 minutes later, and are escorted off the train to clear immigration here in Singapore. So, as I head off the train and the video is ending, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed this video. I try to post a new one every Sunday, and you can also become a channel member if you want to give the channel a little extra support. Thanks for watching.